this AM because that's when it came up as I was doing a session with a client. We began to talk about this topic. And so I said, we need it. I said it in the session. I said, I should have been on live talking about this. And so here we are. Um, as you see, the topic of this talk is boundaries as good stewardship. Boundaries as good stewardship. So, a part of my journey is becoming the owner of Oyun Botanical Gardens. And, it's a beautiful facility. It's very vibrant in the community. And it takes a lot to maintain it. It takes a lot. Salam, sis, salam, assalamu alaikum. It takes a lot to maintain this facility, including sweat equity, including financial investments that I have to make, and protection, protecting the property, maintaining the property. It takes a lot, and not just the property, but also the building and the ministry and the business. So this is all stewardship. And I want to first talk about this word stewardship. I like calling myself a steward versus a business owner or property owner. I'm a business steward, a ministry steward, a property steward, because I feel deeply that I have been blessed with these things in my life. And we all have been blessed with our life, whatever's in our life, right? So, and when I say blessed, I don't mean I'm calling it a blessing because I like it. I'm saying everything in our lives, we're blessed with it, whether we like it or not, or they become, in our experience, burdens or not. These are all your blessings, because the reality is, in everything, there's a purpose. In everything, there is a lesson. In everything, there is something that is a positive contribution in your life. And so, I'll count all these things as a blessing. And these blessings need my stewardship. It's for me to uphold these things that have been placed in my life on my divine path and purpose. And that is important because my life is purposeful in itself, without counting all of the things that my presence contribute to this world, or the good deeds that I do. Without counting that, everyone's life is purposeful. Like I say, we each are part of the pulse of the grand beat of life. We each are a pulse of the grand heartbeat of life. And so my life is purposeful. So everything in it, the fact that I'm a mother, the fact that I'm a sister, the fact that I am a minister, the fact that I am a land steward, the fact that I am a business steward, all of these things have purpose. And so it is up to me to make sure that I am a good steward of those things. What are those things? Motherhood is something that has been placed in my life. Sisterhood, daughter, I'm a daughter. I'm a business owner, a business steward. I am a property steward. I'm a ministry steward. All of these things are purposeful in my life. And they all give me an opportunity to be a reflection of God. They all give me an opportunity to express the reality of God, however it comes out. Some days in my business stewardship, it gives me an opportunity to express the reality of God. That is grace, that is abundance, that is patience, that is faith, whatever it is. But I'm able to express that in my stewardship of my life. So now that we talked about stewardship, let's talk about this word boundaries, right? In my stewardship, I have found that boundaries are important. And I really want to talk more on it because sometimes we hear the word boundaries, and I feel like I observe boundaries being used as a protection, more as a protection. I think my sound went out. Sometimes we use this word boundaries, or we use boundaries as this way of protecting us from something we are afraid of, or something that has hurt us, or something that we have had a bad experience with, right? And so I want to challenge us to look a little bit more deeply and more holistically to the idea of boundaries. See their value, implement them, but do them from a place that's more holistic and balanced. So when I say boundaries in the context of stewardship, it is up to us to realize the things that God has placed in our life that has value and that has purpose. It's up to us to realize that. Realize that as a mother, I hold purpose, not just for my children, but for the world. As a business steward, I hold purpose and value, not just for myself, but for everyone that the business serves, that the ministry serves. As a daughter, I hold value. I hold purpose, not just for myself, not just for my father, but for the world as a daughter. I show up in this world as a daughter that has a universal value and a personal value to myself and maybe to my father. And so first and foremost, it's up to us to realize what are our values? How are we valuable in this life? What are the valuable things in our life? The things that have purpose, the things that we hold valuable. But I want to challenge that because sometimes we don't see things in our lives as a value, maybe because we don't like them, because we struggle with them. But even your tendencies, your gifts, your talents, your passions, your struggles, they all hold value. And it's a necessity for us to be good stewards with them. So now once you realize what has value, what has purpose, now it's up to you to figure out how you are going to be a good steward. I'm going to use an example. The space here at OU Botanical Gardens is a gorgeous space. It has outdoor space, it has indoor space, it has space that you can do events, you can host markets, you can do a lot with this space, right? And so I offer it up to be rented and used, and people often come and inquire about renting or using the space. Well, one of the ways that I am able to be a good steward of the property and the land is by upholding the financial responsibilities it takes to take care of it, right? And one of the ways that I do that is to offer it up for rent or for use for monetary value. Okay. And so I have to decide, what that cost is, what should it be, all those different things. And then also, because I am in an environment or a community where sacred space, green space, beautiful space is needed, and we often find ourselves not having access to such space because of our finances. And so it gets in the way of us being able to doing great things. I have created these kind of parameters around when I would lean on the price, when I will allow it to be used for less than the amount I'm asking for, or even for free. I have come up with this inner judgment on when I will do that, right? And it's some determining factors on when I would do that and how much I would do that, right? So one of the ways is if spirit leads me. Another way is if the event or something like that is valuable to the community, and or it will bring in some other type of support or some other type of currency into the space besides money. Money is not the only currency. There are other ways that can support the ministry other than money. So I determine that boundary. Now, what if I just didn't charge anything and just let everybody use it and didn't hold any type of judgment on who do I give discounts to, and I give discounts to everybody? Or when people haggle, I just be like, okay, yeah, sure. What if I did that? Right? One, it could get overused. Two, it could get to a point where it's been abused. And then who is that up to? That is something that I have to govern. And so here's the thing: boundaries help you to be a good steward of the things in your life, including your time, your energy. Those things are valuable in your life. And so creating boundaries is important for that. And oftentimes we are pushed in a way to set boundaries from hurt, from pain, but it's because you didn't listen the first time it happened when the spirit told you you need to set boundaries. Now it happened again because it's going to happen again because you didn't set your boundaries and you're upset. But count it all joy. It's just your reminder for you to set your boundaries. Don't be mad at it. Count it all joy. Okay, this is just reminding me I definitely need to set that boundary. So when someone come to me and I'm making judgment, I'm giving them the price that I think that maybe that would be good for them, and they start to haggle me and I feel like they're not seeing the value or they're not willing to give the value, I don't get upset. How dare you come with me at that price? How dare you try to ask me to use it for free? I don't do that. I go off of those set parameters that I created within myself, my own mind, on am I going to allow them to utilize the space for whatever amount they're trying to be able to use it for that's not in alignment with the price that I set it for. And it just depends on those parameters that I set on whether I say yes or not. Some of that I go with spirit. They don't even I don't even use them or what they're doing as a judgment on whether I'm going to do it or not. Sometimes it's I'm going to kind of determine, okay, are they just trying to, you know, not not show. Sometimes people are not willing to give what they need, invest what they need to invest in something that they're trying to get back. And I definitely won't even allow room for that. Because if God called you to do something and it requires a beautiful, sacred green space for you to do it, I'm going to encourage you by sticking to my price. I'm going to encourage you to invest. Have that leap of faith to put in there, because what happens is if you push yourself to go ahead and make that investment, your faith grows. You put in and you're going to get back tenfold. You're going to learn something when you take that leap. And so sometimes it's that I realize that, man, God has given them a beautiful vision and this is a perfect place, but they're not willing to put that investment in. Well, I'm going to stand my ground so that it'll push them to make that investment. So boundaries, they're great for your own stewardship, but they also play a role in the whole. If you don't set boundaries with your children, not only will it hurt you, but it could hurt them. If you don't set boundaries with your family members, not only could it hurt you or drain you, but it could have them to miss out on the lesson that they are supposed to learn, right? So boundaries as good stewardship, not boundaries as a way of protect you from hurt that you felt. That's okay. If it took the hurt for you to see it and to begin to set it, count it joy. Let the hurt go, but set the boundaries from a place of I want to keep sacred that which is sacred in my life. I would like to hold valuable those things that are valuable in my life. That's what the boundaries are for. Not so much of, this reaction to hurt, this reaction to what you deem as disrespect. Boundaries are a way that you can make things sacred. Boundaries are a way you can make things sacred. And so I leave you with, take some time during this new moon period. We're around the new moon. The new moon is Friday, so we're technically in the period right now. To plant seeds of beautiful boundaries. I don't necessarily love the word, but we know what it means. So I'm using the word in the moment. But this new moon is calling for structure, it's calling for devotion, it's calling for us to be more intentional in life. Specifically, this new moon in Virgo, with some of the aspects that's going on. I just came off the moon call last night and we talked through that, what that really means. Take a moment during this new moon period from now up until next Tuesday, Wednesday, the new moon energy will be present. Identify the value, your life's value. Okay. One of the things that is valuable that I find that I want to be a good steward of is I have the ability to allow people to be who they are. I'm I tend to be very empathetic. I tend to be very understanding. I tend to be very supportive. I have to be a good steward of that. Meaning, I have to make sure that my discernment is keen, that my awareness is present, that I stay present in the presence so that I can discern how do I move with people so that so that my empathy and my compassion and my understanding doesn't turn into a crutch or doesn't turn into a big boost in places where they're not ready for. I've learned that over the years, and being so supportive and helpful, sometimes people are not ready for the place you want them to be and that you can put them. That's why you got to be careful on how much money you give a child, how many resources you give a child. What you may can afford to give your teenager a car, but are they ready? You may can afford to give your young adult a fund, like a lump sum of money, but a trust fund is created so that they can utilize the funds when they are trustworthy. Okay. But it takes my discernment. So I identified that as a value. I know that one of the valuable things about me is I am empathetic, compassionate, understanding. It's what makes me a great counselor. I understand that one of my values is I am a counselor. I understand that one of my values is I am intellectual, and I'm also intuitive, and I'm also this and that and this and that. Okay. So not just your values as far as these material things, but your emotional value, your spiritual value, and your physical values. And you were blessed with those things to be the unique pulse of the grand pulse of this universe. So it's up to you to be a good steward. And a good steward sets boundaries from a place of honor, sacredness, not from a place of guardedness, protection, anger, reaction. Heard? All right. I pray this was a word for you. Whoever this is for, I pray you're able to receive the word and apply the word. I wish you a beautiful new moon period. May you plant seeds of joy and peace and freedom and clarity in your life. And may those seeds bloom fruitfully and beautifully every day, every hour, every moment as you continue on your journey. All right. Until next time. Peace and love. Oh, I do have a meditation, by the way. The new moon meditation will be this Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. You can register down in the caption below. All right. Peace, y'all.